can you show up with love and not just show up with your presence?
I mean, I always encourage people to have an emotional safety plan.
But it's taken me realizing that the safest place that I can be is with myself. People, as nice as they say they are, can tell when there's weakness showing. And people who are not nice people will latch onto that vulnerability and use it as a weakness and leave you to feel like your non-binariness means nothing and it means everything to you.
Well, we are back for part 2 of this great holiday special podcast. Hey, y'all, thank y'all for coming back.
Okay. Well, thank you for inviting us back.
Well, you know.
Only people moved the sweater. Let me ask.
Oh,
I wore the
okay.
same sweater just for you.
So we were just talking, our last thing we were talking about was the people who are like housing insecure and food insecure. And we were moving on to a really good conversation because you had brought up boundaries. And I wanted to know, what's one boundary or resolution you think everyone should set for themselves when it comes to love and relationships during the holidays?
Don't forget to love you first.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. You first.
Evan, what you got?
Oh, I don't know now. I can't follow that. I mean, be vulnerable, but with understanding who to be vulnerable with. I don't know if that's like a boundary as much as like a rule or whatever, but I think we sort of live, and because I think about social media all the time. Social media sort of makes us be like this or that, good or bad, and social media always tells us things like, you gotta be strong, you can't let anybody know you, or you gotta be vulnerable with everybody. And I'm like, there's a gray space, and I want to encourage people to be vulnerable. I think one of the things not really post, but COVID really did to us, especially, and I think queer people need this the most, especially during the holidays, is it separated us in a way where we sort of feel alone, even when we're in a room full of people. And so I want people to be vulnerable in the way that we need to be as a communal animal. But I also don't want us to just be throwing that at everybody, because not everybody's worth your light like that.
Yeah, that's going to be my follow up with what you're saying. Take the time. Don't be afraid to take time. Not everything has to be rushed. You don't have to fit into this ideal picture of how your life is supposed to be. So don't be afraid to take the time to get to know people and do it at your own pace.
And weirdly enough, not everybody who's close to you deserves.
They know to get your vulnerability.
There's hookups I've had that I've shared really deep, passionate, serious secrets with,
even know my name,
and nobody else, and they earned that. Like they earned that with the vibe or the energy or the space that they set up, even if it was just temporary for one night.
Yeah.
And there are people who have been in my life all of my life who have yet to still earn even the kind
I feel to hook up my deepest, darkest secrets. And going about my day. I possibly can, but I will keep on going.
Yeah.
It's relieving.
That's good.
What's your advice for maintaining self-respect and self-love? Come on, like you just came up with. Would you read my question?
No.
So, you said you only read 2.
Two.
What's your advice for maintaining
first part.
self-respect and self-love during a season that can feel overwhelming with expectations?
First, defining what that is for yourself. Right?
Yeah. If you're gonna set expectations for the people around you, you should be expecting and creating them for yourself. We can't go into the holidays saying I expect my partner to do X, Y, and Z. I expect my mom to show up this way, and it's as if you're standing there with the entitlement, like hand me everything I expect, and you're not doing anything to add to the holiday spirit, anything to add to this holiday function.
I showed up,
and it's appreciated that you showed up. Can you show up with
participate?
love and not just show up with your presence?
But what if I am someone who is already on guard with family? How do I show up with love?
Then you don't have expectations for me.
You can make the decision if you're going to go into this environment that's full of love and not receive any of it. And if you make that decision, then you cannot be hurt that you got none of it while you were there.
Okay. What if I want to be around my family but I'm scared? How do I make that option? And I say I because I feel like I'm now talking for like a consumer or something.
I mean, I always encourage people to have an emotional safety plan.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
what is that?
So-
What is? Oh, come
Yes,
on.
can you give us an example of an emotional safety
Emotional safety
plan?
plan.
Step one.
I think all of us, or a lot of us, know, especially those of us who are, prone to be predated on, is having like a physical safety plan. But you can have an emotional safety plan, and what that looks like is for people who have therapists who have the privilege of having a therapist. You can say, "Hey, I'm going into this space between this time and this time. I may need to text you. I may need to call you. I may need to get a hold of you." And I just want to say that out loud so you know that, like, if I'm reaching out, that's a serious moment.
I like
And even
that.
if it's not a therapist, someone that you know you can trust.
Right.
and
So for
confide
folks
in,
who can't afford a therapist or don't have a therapist, sort of naming who that person is and who that person is that is going to, at minimum, give you the words you need to succeed to get through the rest of the day or whatever the event is, or that person that can pull you out.
Right.
Right. So that's somebody who maybe not just physically can like show up and pick you up, but like somebody who can
call
really
me.
like
when you want to get out that date and then you have that friend call
they
you.
can pull to the side and they can talk you down out of
Yeah.
whatever that is, right? So an emotional safety plan, I always tell people to do that. And I'd say to do that around a lot of events. Do that when you're going to a wedding. Do that when you're going to Christmas. Do that when you're going to a funeral, especially.
One of my emotional safety things, 2-hour limit. I always go into an event.
That's
I'm
part
only
of
going
it
to be there
too.
for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Funeral?
And if I can't do more than
Funeral after
Setting time limits is a
right
good
when they
part
close
of
the
that.
casket,
Yeah.
I'm going downstairs. I'm gonna go plug into what I'm good at so that I don't have to do anything with anybody else.
Know what you're doing
Know what
next,
you're doing.
right? Like one of the things I see all the time is people are like, they don't have an emotional safety plan. And so ultimately what they do afterwards, after they've had their nerves tried in so many ways, is they go drink. And so maybe having a maybe planning something, not just having a time limit, but saying like, okay, I'm going to go to Thanksgiving dinner and it starts at 3. I'm going to leave at 6 and I'm going to go see a movie with my best friend at 7:30.
Right.
There's no
go
time
see
in between
Wicked.
for me to go and do something that's harmful to myself because I have to show up for that movie at 7:30.
Right.
I think that also helps for a lot of
And
people.
not having
who
that
are-
friend be the person that's going to feed into those like negative acts. Because if you have a friend that's like all for the party and like, let's go get a drink and all that, you're setting yourself up to fail. Yeah.
Now, Harlan, this question is for you.
Oh, I love it when you ask me questions.
Well, you are, you're a little bit of an expert on some things. If someone is traveling for the holidays and they are exposed to an STD, what do they do? Do they wait till they come back home to like get tested for that? Should they go to a nearest like hospital? Is there any advice that you think you can help out with?
The advice I would say, it depends on the length of time you're going to be away.
Okay.
Right? First, if you are going to be away for like 2 weeks, then you probably would want to go see someone wherever you are.
Okay.
But if you're coming back home, like you're just going for Thanksgiving dinner, then you're coming back home the next day, and you go see your primary care provider. Like, I'll go where you're most comfortable. Now, if the symptoms are extremes, if they're symptomy, then you might want to go to the emergency room or urgent care or something like that, and they can start you on a regimen. That would be my advice. Yeah,
Evan,
because you won't know.
what does a equitable holiday look like to you?
Equitable?
holiday?
Yes.
I've never heard that one before.
Just gave you a
Right.
whole creation.
Just set my mind.
Did you set your? I said, oh, what does that look like? Right. And I'm talking about culturally. I'm talking about through government wise. I'm talking about through just human, like equitably. What equity should people be getting, especially during the holidays?
So I'm going to give you an individual answer, and then I'm going to give you a systemic answer.
Go ahead.
My individual answer is considering all people's needs and considering all people's like limitations, right? So if you're having a holiday, one of the things that like I know people always love to like bang on these folks, but like if somebody's a vegetarian, like make them vegetarian things. You know,
Yes.
like, make an effort. They might
yes.
be a vegetarian for like medical reasons, and even if they're not, that's how they eat. Like,
And it's
please,
good for you.
make space for them. Like the fact that you're like, oh, you're just gonna get what we make at the table, and if
And
everything got
salad
a
is
turkey
not-
neck in
Yeah,
it,
right,
everything
right,
got-
right.
don't do that.
Just eat
And
the
a
yams.
salad does
Yeah,
not
just
count.
eat it.
And a
Just
salad
eat
does
the
not
yams.
count.
Just make a little greens without it. I know it's not our favorite flavor, but you can do
Right.
it.
Right.
So things of that nature. Also invite invitations. So like I know, so like my wife is Iranian, and so one of the things that she's really brought to the Thanksgiving that we have that's pretty traditional soul food is that she brings a lot of really beautiful Iranian like starter dishes. So we're going to have like stuffed grape leaves. We're going to have like hummus. And so inviting people to also share in the cultural element is, and the foods that they like is a good time to like try something
together,
and eat it. Don't let them just bring it and then everybody ignore it. I know how y'all do. Like, eat it. Try it. Right.
Who? What?
My sister.
I've been with you.
You know the hands are going to go here and then it's going to hit it here. Do you want to?
I try to tap her before she gets to the swipe so people don't see it.
Just give it a little try. Just give it a little try. Now, my systemic answer.
I heard the grape leaf and that's what threw me off.
My systemic answer is someone who's worked, especially in like the mayor's office and in local, like municipal government, is I really wish that we had, and I wish we could build a system, and this was what I tried to do, where there is a place for everybody somewhere, or there's somewhere that they can ask for help, and the help isn't necessarily 911, right? So one of the things that I encourage people to do, and I know it sucks because we all want to be worried about ourselves, but like as a civil servant, one of the things I encourage people is if you do not have to take off between Christmas and New Year's, don't be available. And I know that's a hard sell, but some of the most down bad people that I was able to intercept, it was because I was sitting in my office between Christmas and New Year's, and I was able to get them housing. I was able to get them, because they had a blow up fight during Christmas and they lost their housing, because they, you know, broke up with a partner in between those. Like that is such a window of time, and we lose so many queer people in that window of time, and we don't know it. We all kind of skip on past it. But so my systemic answer is, if as a civil servant you have the capacity to be at work and be available to folks, do it. My other encouragement is use municipal resources to get people fed. There's nothing I loved more than doing the Thanksgiving at William Way, and I would make everybody in my family be involved, and we would do Thanksgiving at William Way, all of our energy starting at 9 a.m. all the way to 3, and then rush to our own Thanksgiving as well.
I love that. I love that.
I loved feeding people, and I loved feeding people because I knew that they had somewhere they could go. And making sure that they could take a plate with them. I always wanted to make sure that we had, if we were going to have 100 people, there were 200 plates, because
everybody needs a plate
everything's
to go
closed
home.
on Friday. And so this might be the only meal that some person has access to for 72 hours. So I want to encourage people who work in civil service to think about even just those things, and not just like soup kitchen style, here's your plate, you know, like actually letting people sit, decorate the space, converse, bring people. One of the things we trained the volunteers to do was to act like waiters and waitresses, because when's the last time some of these folks actually got to sit down in a restaurant and be catered to?
Wow.
You know,
Evan,
like
this is so
Instead of being in a line.
Dignity.
That's why I said Evan had to be on this one.
I agree.
Trent, because I know you're going to follow up with something, because this is something that I know is going to probably touch heart. For someone who is non-binary, and sometimes people don't understand they're non-binary. There are so many people out that people don't understand they're non-binary. And not only are you non-binary, but you also have your trans component to that. How do you talk to your siblings right now? What are some things that they need to be helped and guided on?
Are you referring to my trans siblings or just siblings, all of you?
Your non-binaries.
Oh, my non-binary siblings specifically?
Yeah, I got the trans. I got the trans over here. I got the trans family over here. Yeah, I got it. I got it. Me and my good wig.
It's this good wig. Can you ask your question again please?
So when it comes to the non-binary community, people who are going to have to be navigating this world may have just stepped into the term or just understood what their non-binary is, and being able to not only physically, but aesthetically is the word I think I'm looking for. How do they navigate that?
Safely. I'm going to say first, because I think that's been a huge conversation with my friend group, but also in this conversation. Because even me, like being out as trans non-binary since 2019, there are times that I have gone home to visit my family and I'll still have like my nails, but they'll be black, because that is more appeasing, air quotes, to them to see and to be around. Versus now, I have a full set that has multiple colors. And
you're definitely not
today,
going
I
back
wouldn't go
home
home and change a thing. But from 2019 till now, it has taken me realizing that the safest place that I can be is with myself. So if I make the decision to go home to be around my siblings, or if any of my non-binary folks that are listening choose to go home and be around your siblings or your family who is yet to understand you, take pieces of you there that are going to keep you feeling safe. So if I chose not to have nails or couldn't afford to get my nails done to go home, then I would definitely color my hair, because coloring my hair is a part of my feminine and a part of my non-binary expression.
And this color's super cute right now. Just want to say.
Thanks, sugar. So it's stuff like that. And then, like, even if I didn't have those two things, I've developed jewelry, I have developed clothing, I have developed even shoes, T-shirts, all types of things that when I travel, I take with me, because I don't know how safe that space is going to be for a non-binary person. So for me, I would tell my non-binary babies on up to the people who are identifying as non-binary that are older than me, when you go into these spaces that are not normalized for us, go into them safely. And that means safely check yourself first. If you don't feel like you're going to be safe in it, don't allow yourself to stay too long. Develop that safety net plan, that emotional safety plan that today was the first time someone has said it, and I wish that someone had said it, because while I have been doing it, having the name of it probably would have helped a long time
Name
ago.
and claim it.
Yes, because then I would have continued to create it. I've lived in Philly for 8 years, and for 8 years I have 7 years I chose not to go home. And in many ways chose not to go home because I didn't, from the time I came out as trans non-binary, didn't know how my family was going to receive that. And even doing this interview and being in a trans discordant, and for folks who don't know what that is, trans discordant relationships are people who are trans folks who are not binary and that are in relationships. So I'm in a relationship with a trans man, and I am trans non-binary AMAB. AMAB is assigned male at birth. But for folks who are in trans discordant relationships, it's even harder, right? Because I'm not going home with the binary. I'm not going home with even a piece of what you can expect in a relationship at all. So when you aesthetically see us, my family, if they don't hear this interview, won't even know that I'm dating another trans person, let alone know that I am trans. So in the beginning of this interview, when we were talking about like the things at home, I can't bring up that I enjoy my transness at home because I don't show my transness at home, if that makes sense. So, and that is literally because of safety. So to answer your question directly, try not to put yourself this holiday season in spaces where you're not going to feel safe with yourself, let alone the people around you. And that in large part is because people, as nice as they say they are, can tell when there's weakness showing. And people who are not nice people will latch onto that vulnerability and use it as a weakness and leave you to feel like your non-binariness means nothing and it means everything to you. So don't allow people to steal that from you just because of your own fear of being accepted.
That's deep.
Well,
Thank you.
this side of the table's on fire.
Okay. Okay. We got the right guest today.
We got the right guest. I don't know if I want to hide. I don't know what I need to do. I don't know if I need to cry for a moment. I don't know what it was given. I would go on and I'm just going to concur with what you both said, especially when it comes to the trend, because I just feel like all of that, y'all all touched the points. And the last thing I'm going to ask you all to do, we're all going to go around and say one thing that we are thankful for while we are going to go ahead and go out. So, starting.
Don't start with me.
So we're going to end with you.
No, I'll start.
You just want to be clear for a second.
No, okay, yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm thankful for, I don't know, my experiences, like my family, my friends, my coworker, my job. Yeah, I'm thankful that I've been able to live the life that I have lived. So, yeah.
I am thankful that I am still living. I am thankful that I am able to be at a place of peace within my transhood while navigating these holidays. Because each year, my family gets trickier and trickier. So like just already coming in, I'm just really thankful that I'm at a place where I've already have my boundaries set. And I'm being able to do that, because before I just, y'all gonna listen to me. And now it's just like, all right, y'all not doing, I'm gonna go ahead about my day. I'm also thankful for having been able to purchase a vehicle on my own And now, in case anything
Goes left.
goes
You can
left,
just go when you
I
wanna
can
go.
just go.
Yeah, that's part of your safety plan.
That is
Yeah.
part of okay.
Because
biggest part.
it hit different when you standing at a bus stop after you slam the
Okay.
door. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? It hit different.
I don't gotta take
And then-
this.
and it's
Child,
It
will
hit different
someone
when you
take
gotta
me
order
home?
an Uber every customer. I gotta stand here with
Yeah,
these
that's-
people behind me.
I thought you was leaving
In
my
6
Uber be
minutes,
here in
I'm gonna
7
slam that
minutes.
door.
I didn't want to order the pool.
That's why you start when the conversation starts. You
There's
just
a
like can't have
surge, I
that
gotta
ready.
wait.
You got just have it
Oh,
ready.
my man is great for that. My man be like,
It's time to go.
oh, all right, y'all. Well, let me go ahead and tuck my stuff. Evan.
It hit different. I'm grateful for Black queer community. I grew up in Philadelphia, and so I've never not had Black queer community,
All right.
and it means so much to me in this city. Every year I find something new and beautiful about it. And I specifically say Black queer community because I really learned the other day talking to some other folks who were white queer folks, and they were talking about all sorts of things. And I was like, I don't even know what you're saying. Like, where is that? But and that's not common. A lot of people have to navigate to a Black queer community through a more mainstream or white queer community. I never had to, I always got to be in BIPOC queer space in Philly. So I'm
It's a unique
incredibly
thing for
grateful.
Philly, yeah. for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, you know, so turn up for that. And then I've always gotten to just be myself.
you.
I've always looked like this, you know, because I grew up in this space in this time, and that was just great.
Trinity,
We'll end with you.
take us on out.
So what a lot of people don't
Please
know.
don't take me out.
I'm not gonna take you out.
Thank you.
So what a lot of people don't know is that I also have bipolar 2 disorder, which means that at times I battle with depression. So the thing I'm most grateful for is that this year I have learned how to pour more love back into myself. When I said earlier, don't forget to love yourself, it's something that I have tattooed on my arm to remind me to literally not forget. But also because there was a period in my time where it was really dark. And I am extremely grateful and thankful now that I have friends, family that intentionally pour into me, and that I actually am learning to accept it. Because it was at one point where I was thankful to have it, but I wasn't accepting it. And being able to accept it this year, going into 2025, I think that I'm going to have a really, really successful year. Not just because of the things that I'm planning, but also because I'm allowing the support that's there to be there.
You are. That's right.
Well, y'all,
Do you know what we gotta say?
you know what we gotta say. This has been a
I wish we could do a part 3 and 4 with you
This
guys.
has been
You
one
can.
of
Y'all
my
got my
most
email.
favorite recordings, except besides the AIDS walk
Yeah.
recap, which will have y'all in tears. It's coming very soon. It'll probably be dropped before y'all even get to see this episode. But when you do, make sure you go back and watch that reel. It is something very dear. I think to a lot of us. I think we were all there in some capacity. But I'm Amia Pacheco Branch. This is Harlan Shaw. We got our lovely esteemed guest that came out, Evan Thornburg. I said it right.
You always say it right.
You
I
always say it right.
always stop and make sure that I don't say
Please.
okay. And then Mix Trinity Wilson. Okay. I was going to give you a whole rundown, but I should have did that in the beginning.
It's
like,
okay.
A whole
If
tape
they want to
ago.
find me, they can find me on all types of social
Yes,
media.
where can I find y'all at?
Yeah,
So if you're looking for me, I'm on social media at TEDDIEFA.
We'll
You
get
know
it.
what?
We'll
You
have
know
it at
what?
the bottom of the
You
You
screen
give
for
that
you.
to Dill.
Bottom.
Dylan, you gonna get that to Dylan. Dylan's
Okay,
gonna
cute.
put it up on the
At the-
screen
Thank you.
in
Yep,
a
yep,
wop.
mhm.
Thank you to our production team. Thank you,
Thank you,
Dylan.
Dylan.
We've done
You're
another
amazing.
year. Well, I guess I'm I've been
You know what you gotta
prolonging and
say,
dragging
girl.
it.
You know what you gotta say.
I'm Amia Pacheco Branch. This is Harlan. This is Evan, and this right there is Mix Trinity. And this has been another recording of Keep On Loving. This is the holiday special, baby.
Right.
And
So
remember, no matter how you're loving, just keep on doing it.
Keep on loving, Philly.